Welcome to this episode of the Essential Church Podcast, an ongoing conversation about some of the most important issues facing the local church today. I'm your host, Andrew Arndt, and man, every time I do that script, I actually do have to pat myself on the back a little bit. I remember it. I'm really happy about that. But we hope that you all had a great summer. We certainly did around here at New Life. This is the beginning of season 9. Hard to believe that we have 8 seasons under our belts, but here we are. And to start off this season, I wanted to take you to a conversation that we had not too long ago with Demetrius Wilson, otherwise known to most people as Dee Wilson. Dee is a Grammy-winning worship leader who just moved here with his wife, Jen, and their daughter from the Chicagoland area to join our New Life worship staff. And we could not be happier about that. We had a great conversation with Dee about songwriting, about what it looks like to cultivate diversity in the church, and also what it takes to stay grounded as a worship leader, not just a worship leader, but as a leader in God's house. We think that you're going to love the conversation. So without further commentary from me, here it is.
Hey, well, we're so excited today. We have a very special guest, and he's not really a guest. He's really a friend, a brother, someone that we love and admire. We have Demetrius Wilson with us today. I got the full name right, and we call him D around here. People, so I think your wife calls you Terrell.
Yes,
but he goes by various names.
Yeah,
but
and whatever you're comfortable with is cool.
And I'll have to be honest with you. The only reason I know your full name, Terrell Demetrius Wilson, is because you just won a Grammy Award.
Yeah, I wasn't bright enough to put Dee Wilson in the BMI registration.
Well, I actually Googled Dee Wilson Grammy and nothing came up, and I thought, I don't know if he really won a Grammy, but you really did win a Grammy Award,
really
and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And we know, I was telling you earlier that a Grammy Award is basically your peers saying this is a good song, and we recognize good work.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
it was a beautiful song, and I actually listened to it multiple times. Tell us about the song, and tell us what it's meant to you for your peers to say well done.
Yeah. So moving on. We were writing Jonathan's. I've gotten a chance to work with Jonathan McReynolds, who's even though he's young, he's actually younger than me. He's actually a gospel music legend at this point in his career. And so I've gotten the opportunity to help him write his last 2 albums, Make Room and Now People. And we've known each other probably over 10 years, and we've become friends over the last few. So in that process, he's, this is pre-pandemic. And so he's planning on moving to LA. He has kind of all this different life happening in around. He's grown and things like that. So we're talking about that. Just as we're at his house, what it means to move to LA, what it means to leave Chicago, where he's been his entire life. The triumphs, the tragedies, of what living in Chicago means, and what does moving to LA do that. I forgot who started it, but one of us just started on the guitar with the "I'm moving on," and once you give us a groove, it's a wrap. Yeah. So we probably and for us, lyric writers, we can spend hours just toiling over lyrics, and that's what me and Jonathan normally do. That one we probably wrote in 30 minutes. Yeah.
Wow.
It was just really quick because everything, it was stemmed off the conversation that we were already having.
Right.
And so it was a song that I had the most fun with, and I didn't really think it was going to get nominated, to be honest. I thought the album would, and I thought if there was one song that was going to be nominated, it would be the title track, People, because it was pretty revolutionary. It was a song about delivering me from people right as we were all going on quarantine around the nation. So I'm like, for sure, that has to be it. A Grammy is really cool. It's a very exclusive club of humans, of creators, of song makers, music makers that get it. For me, it's nice to have the admiration from my peers. But honestly, the coolest thing for me has been my daughter. She's a lot more public and proud of it than I am. She's going around. My daddy won a Grammy. Have you seen the Grammy? Do you know what the Grammys are? And so to watch the light bulb go on for her, and to watch her eyes light up at the possibilities of the world, when you're dedicated in her workstation's right next to mine at home. So the dedication and the work and the toil, when she sees that pay off, it means so much more to me that it means a lot to her.
Yeah. And so it's not only a recognition of your peers for a job well done, but it also opens doors for other writers now to
Absolutely.
acknowledge that you have the ability to write. And so what doors has it opened for you?
I mean, John called me, a week after I won the Grammy and said, "Man, we got to write now."
So now you have John Egan will now return your phone calls.
The clock's ticking. Now he returns my text messages.
Very high standard.
Yeah, I mean, I think slowly but surely, the nomination was one. Actually, the nomination is really the one that was the agitator a little bit.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the full breadth of what the Grammy can do, but I am expecting some of that to take place. You know what I mean? And to be honest, I've been really blessed and privileged to write with some of the folks that I've been able to write with before, nomination. Like I joke about John. Like I've written with John and Glenn and Micah and Aaron. Yeah. I've written with Percy Beatty. I've written with Jonathan McReynolds. It's like all these folks that I look up to and respect welcomed me into their creative process a little while ago. Yeah. And that's a huge blessing. Such a huge blessing, and that I don't take for granted.
Dee, if the Grammy was maybe the biggest surprise, it sounds like, of your career.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
What's the song that you've written that maybe you're the most proud of in your career?
Is it the ones you've written with me? Probably, huh?
Probably the ones, I mean, the unreleased ones that I've written with you.
You can say that.
Critically acclaimed, though.
The two critics. It has to be between maybe Rose Petals and The Medicine.
Yeah.
Is
stunning songs.
Yeah, both.
Yeah, it's because the light bulb that goes on, or even some of the anger, and I get a lot of it, especially with Rose Petals. Some of the reaction that it draws out, I'm not always happy with it, but I'm always going, this person never felt that before they heard this song, or maybe they weren't able to verbalize it. Yeah. I remember being in Atlanta playing that song. I played the song at a church in Atlanta. It didn't go super great, but one of the people came up to me, one of the musicians actually that played on the song with me, which was amazing, came up to me afterwards, and there's, the second verse about the tears of my mother were spilled at his grave. He literally said, "I've never considered the mothers of these people." Wow. They were always just sort of these figures on the news that were polarized, right? You see, you see Trayvon Martin, and all of a sudden you just go to your camp where you feel the most comfortable. It's amazing that he said, "I've never considered his mother. I've never considered what she felt losing her baby, and then watching her baby be the fodder for political wrestle matches." And so
be dehumanized.
And that was the whole point of writing that song was, let's look at these roses. Let's consider more than what we want to say and more than our opinions. Let's consider that God honors blood and life and the loss of life and the loss of innocence, and that that these things mean more to him, and since they mean more to him, they must mean more to us.
Wow. While we're on this topic, a lot of my pastor friends recognize that their churches need to have a more diverse expression of music, of sound and song, and you've been a part of that. You've helped pastors, you've helped us here at New Life understand the diversity of music, the diversity of sound, and how to bring that into a for lack of a better word, a white congregation that is accustomed to one particular genre of music, and we've loved that you've been here with us, and when you get up there, you're yourself. You are who you are, and our churches loved it. Our churches embraced it. How have you helped churches though even start the conversation and integrate their music?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing you have to integrate actually isn't the music. I think the first thing you have to realize is that you're bringing in a person, you're bringing in a human being. Exactly. And that human being comes with their own culture, their own cultural identity, their own walk of life, their own view of the world. And it's not very fair to invite my songs and you don't want me, right? That's kind of what appropriation is all about, right? It's like, we love your songs, we love the cool things you do, but we don't want you over here. And so a lot of times, I've tried to help folks go, if you're going to bring this person in, if you're going to bring me in, you're gonna get me. You know what I mean? You're gonna get me, and I'm flawed, and you're flawed, but we're gonna have to love each other and have this exchange of humanity. And then the songs will come. I think and we start pushing the congregation to appreciate the different sounds of what worship is around the world. because that's all that's going to be in heaven. You know, ain't no CCM part of heaven.
No.
Ain't no gospel part of heaven.
Right.
I don't know what it's going to sound like. My imagining is somehow or another, all the sounds of the world that give God glory will just somehow match when we get there.
Yes.
Right? But it's not going to be, you know, there's not going to be somebody tuning down the gospel and turning up. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, or vice versa. It's going to be, we're going to have to all figure this out eventually in heaven.
Well, one of the beautiful parts of that Revelation text that you talk about, every tongue, every tribe, every nation, is that we don't have to give up our racial distinctiveness.
No.
We don't have to give up our individual identity in heaven. It seems like that heaven is going to be the place where it all melds together. And for the first time, it truly does become a melting pot.
Absolutely.
It does become a symphony of sounds.
Yeah.
And that's what I think the church should start sounding like. And there's as much talk as we're having about racial diversity and racial unrest and racial peace, I think music has a profound ability to when we don't know the words to say, sometimes songs can become our words. And I think the songs from the pulpit, the songs from the stage, is actually going to create an environment for us to have better conversation. But songs are probably going to go first.
I grew up, the church I grew up in was, I didn't know this until later in life. It was it was such an anomaly among the churches in the area. You know, all the churches that were predominantly white would come to us and go, how in the world are you doing, you know, this song in front of, you know, all these white folks? And then all the black churches would come and go, how in the world are you doing this song in front of all these black folks? And we were just like, because I don't know, we just sort of set the culture of worship isn't about your preference. Worship isn't about your, you know, that's a concert. We're not doing a concert. We're here to give glory, ultimate praise to God. And so let's all just get cool with, you know, hey, if we got to do a passing chord every now and again, we're gonna have to do a passing chord every now and again. You know, now or we have to play like a 1 to 4 with nothing in between it. Then bless God, that's what we're gonna do. You know, but this isn't about us. This isn't about our preferences. This is about like how can we come together and give God glory? And the sound of unity is so much more important than what the chord changes are. I appreciate being a New Life because when we can make a left turn and everybody goes with us, and we did hymns, you know, we can do hymns and then you know, I would love, you know, then the next move is like, you know, how gospel-y can we get? You know?
I love what you're saying, Dee, because we have a saying around here that the best songs we'll ever write are these relationships. That's the best song that we could write.
Absolutely.
Because that's what really lasts. And that worship's not a response to our music. It's a response to the majesty of God and the glory of God. So I love what you're saying. I would love to ask you, though, and just for you to riff a little bit on I mean, winning a Grammy, being a congregational worship leader, being an artist, being someone who gets low and serves a band and makes disciples. You know, the worship landscape has a lot of beauty and amazing things that God's doing on the earth with worship, and there's more songs being released than ever. But it also has some pitfalls, and now there's business involved and all this stuff involved. You know, where do you know, what's something that you could kind of, what keeps you true north? What keeps you at full center because it's awesome to be an artist, awesome to win Grammys. I mean, well, how great.
For sure.
You know, we don't chase trophies, but we celebrate when the world celebrates. You know,
cool. Sure. What keeps me true north? I married Jennifer Elaine Matthews, and she don't care about none of this. Honestly,
She's actually in the studio audience right now, giving him some serious coaching from this.
Just directing me. So I've learned to lean on the relationships that don't need anything from me except for me to be whole, right? And so my wife needs me to be whole. My daughter needs me to be whole. My parents, my family, my friends with whom I have deep relationship, they don't thrive from me being successful, really. They thrive from me being grounded, you know, me being close to Jesus, me being dedicated to the cause of like Christ. And so what keeps me true north is the fact that and they're willing to say, sit down, and you know, you know, there in the times of last year when I was really struggling, and you know, I was making an album. We've talked about it, like making an album, and I keep coming back. Your vocals aren't good enough. The song's not good enough. Blah blah blah. I'm at home, and I told Jennifer like, I can't believe they're saying this to me, and she's like, have you prayed?
Yeah.
Have you talked to God? When's the last time you talked to God about it?
Come on.
I'm like, first of all, mind your business. Second of all, you know what I mean? Like, wives submit to your husbands. Why are you even checking me? You know? But no, like, what keeps you true north, honestly, is like, you know, I have people in my life that don't care about any of it and are willing to, and then, you know, and are willing to call me back to say, like, go to God. Like, don't come to me. Like, I love you. I support you. But if
so
you,
beautiful.
Well, I hope every young worship leader heard what you just said.
Yeah.
Because there is this ambition to be successful, but not an intention to wholeness. And what the world needs are worship leaders who are whole and not worship leaders who are just successful. And I hope that resonates. I hope there's a lot of young, talented men and women out there that heard that clearly. Here you are, a successful young man. You're in your early 30s. You're starting to see success, but you're latching hold of the right thing, and I just want to say that to you. That you're turning your attention to the right thing, being a good man, a good whole man, a man of strength and character, and out of that, the Lord just tends to bring success, and the Lord is the one that blesses us.
That's right.
For sure. For sure. And if the things that happened to me at 32, 33 happened to me at 25, it'd be a nightmare.
Right.
You know,
Right.
It could. Yeah, I couldn't be told much.
Right.
You know, until I got good coaches. You know, I'm thankful for folks like Aaron and Micah that are just good coaches. Until I got married and, you know, got a good wife that just don't care. You know, she really don't. and I appreciate it. You need it. John, I remember I was at a conference one time and John Gray was speaking, and I asked him a question. Just simply, it was before I got married, and I think I might not have even been dating. And so I just asked him a question of like, you know, how do you, you know, maintain this whole, you know, in the house, out of the house thing, and what you expect? And he literally said, like, God gave you a family, not fans.
Yeah, come on.
You know, so what you need from your family is to be your family. You don't need them. You don't need them to come. You don't need to come home and them laud over you about the songs you've written or the success you've seen. You need them to. You need to come home to them and for them to be able to have honest conversation about what you know, how you're doing as a husband, how you're doing as a father.
That's good.
Yeah.
And those things are paramount. They're not secondary. They are the reason we do work. And it's what qualifies us for the work of ministry. And I so appreciate that about you and what you're doing and the way it comes out of you. And I think what we see on the stage is what we see off the stage. That's so important. I'm just past being around people that are different off the stage and on the stage. And one of the things we loved about you is that the same person we see on the stage, the joyful man, the man who's asking good questions, who's pursuing a righteous God, is the same guy off the stage.
Amen.
And we love that about you. Love that about you for sure. So one of the fun things I get to do today is announce that Terrell Demetrius Wilson and your wife Jennifer are going to be a part of the New Life worship team, and we could not be more thrilled. We are so excited.
Thank you, Jesus.
Yes, we have. This has been a long process, a long journey of us getting to know one another. And of course, you've known some people on our team for a long, long time. But when you first started coming around here, just as a guest worship leader, there was something brewing in our hearts toward one another. And I just want to tell you how thrilled we are, how excited we are, how honored we are that to add your voice and your strength and your giftings and callings to the team here. And the water level just got a little deeper around here. And for both you and your wife, Jennifer, and your daughter Adele, we just are so excited about you being a part of New Life Church. And so welcome to the 719 to Colorado Springs.
I gotta rep it. I gotta rep it. See, the thing is, like, I rep like the 312 super hard. It is like, I don't know. I'm looking like say 719.
And the next time we see you on an album cover, you'll have a Patagonia jacket on. Yeah, you look like a Colorado. You're gonna look like a Colorado hipster. Yeah, we're gonna totally convert you from into a Colorado hipster soon. But
oh my goodness,
we're very.
I have a beard already.
Yeah, you got that going. You got that going. And you're wearing the right colors, the Colorado Rockies colors. So
see,
exactly right.
So see, won't God do it? We didn't even know the mountain was perfect.
So again, welcome to New Life Church. We're so grateful you're to be a part of this team, and we can't wait to see what God does in the future with all of us.
We can't wait either. We're really excited. When I met John, I was able to geek out for the first 2 minutes and go, I'm just so grateful for the legacy of new life, and everything that God has brought the church through, and God has done through this church, and excited to be part of whatever that next chapter is, and spurring on that next chapter of what God's doing. We're honored. We're excited to do it.